अहिले बस्छ अब हाम्रो गाडी चाहिँ यो हो, यसमा चढ्ने हो। यस्तो छ अब यसले लान्छ हामीलाई भ्याली फ्लोर टुर चाहिँ। गाडी चाहिँ यस्तो छ। अब यसले कतिवटा पोइन्ट देखाउँछ मलाई थाहा छैन। यस्तो छ, यहाँनिर रोकिन्छ। यो चाहिँ योसेमाइट भ्याली लज अगाडि राखिन्छ र भित्र टिकट पाइन्छ। तर टिकट चाहिँ पहिले बुक गर्नुपर्छ अनलाइन। त्यो भएर चाहिँ अनलाइन बुक गर्ने कन्फर्मेसन इमेलमा आउँछ। त्यसपछि यो भित्र गएर काउन्टरमा गएर यस्तो टिकट लिनुपर्छ। यो टिकट दिन्छ तिनीहरूले। त्यसपछि चाहिँ यो गाडीमा चढेर जाने थियो। राम्रा चढ्यो यस्तो छ ल।
If I haven't introduced myself to you guys already, my name is AJ. I work as an interpretive naturalist guide here in Yosemite. I work for Yosemite's chief concessionaire, Yosemite Hospitality, underneath the mountain guiding school. So that is our backpacking guides, our rock climbing guides, our interpretive naturalist guides. It's a really long-winded way of me saying that I do not work for the Park Service and I'm not a park ranger, though I am authorized by the Park Service. In fact, our guiding school is the preferred guiding school here in the park, the only one authorized to go ahead and give you guys these paid educational programs like you guys are showing up to today. For that, I always say thank you. Thank you guys. I'm here in Yosemite. I love it. I love all those hands. Hey, thanks for coming, guys.
First time.
You didn't raise your hand. Thanks for coming back.
Am I in it?
I always appreciate that. It's going to be a lovely day. We're going to be out on the road for about 2 hours. We'll probably get back here about 1 p.m.
Two.
I don't know
Time
how
and
to do
traffic
that.
depending. Perfect. We're going to be making 3 total stops today on our 2-hour tour that comes back at 2 p.m. Our first stop is going to be at El Capitan meadow. Our second stop is going to be about 30-40 minutes into the tour at Valley View, otherwise known as the Gates of the Valley. Our third and final stop is going to be all the way up at Tunnel View. If anyone struggled, was frustrated trying to park up there, rest your fears. Jay and I are going to be the ones struggling to find parking up there. That's our job today. Traffic loop, you cut off traffic, you lead to a big traffic jam. This ranger in particular, he had his supervisor on the radio saying, "What are you doing? You're being too cautious. Open up the road." And just moments later, about 2,600 feet up this vertical rock face, about 1.8 million metric tons of rock fell. That's 600,000 cubic meters. It's enough to fill 50,000 dump trucks. The ones I talked about. Designated certain sites around the park as rock fall hazard zones. We don't place lodging facilities, parking spots, even those creative parking spots we just passed back there. Hopefully those guys return to a rock or a car that is not crushed by a rock. That'd be a horrible way to start your vacation over there. We're going to see are these prescribed birds. Up in our high country, we're going to see a lot of natural fires. On our left-hand side, you're seeing one of our beautiful meadows over here, and kind of what they're designed allow this flooding, these waterfalls, the river to absorb some of this water. Let's think of our meadows as underground water towers, sponges. This soft, loamy soil allows to absorb all this water. This meadow off in the distance over here, it bears kind of a grim name. Many of our meadows are named after early pioneers. Heidig Meadow, Cook's Meadow, Stoneman Meadow. This one's kind of a grim name. This one's known as Slaughterhouse Meadow. Because in the early days of Yosemite, it was actually quite difficult to have fresh meat delivered into the valley. So cattle were raised in the meadows, they were brought downriver, they were butchered here at this site to have access for these early colonists, access for fresh meat. We're seeing kind of some of this flooding right over here. A nice little mallard hanging out over there. And by walking in these meadows, we're actually compressing the soil, not allowing the grass to grow, not allowing flowers to grow, and not allowing an absorption of water. We have all these fences that you're not supposed to go back over there and have a picnic at. And that actually decreases the absorbability of some of that water. That pond that we see over there, not all of our ponds have really fun names here in the park. That one I think has a truly fun name. We call it Wasky Pond. Up on our right-hand side, we're going to be seeing El Capitan. Now, if that doesn't get you excited to climb up a mountain, I don't know what will right there. Pretty soon, we're going to find a nice little clearing. We'll park for a few minutes. Maybe on our way, we can spy some rock climbers. I kind of see some over there. Sometimes it takes some heavy squinting. They're very small. They're very small. I think it demonstrates just how big El Capitan is. Oh yeah, there's some. I often find that it helps if they're wearing brightly colored clothing.
Next, यतापट्टि पनि यस्तो ब्युटिफुल छ रक यहाँ चाहिँ रक क्लाइम्बिङ गर्ने रहेछ यसमा एल क्यापिटन भन्दो रहेछ ए ओ यसमा रक क्लाइम्बिङ गर्छ अरे ओ यहाँ यता
All the cars behind us think we're pointing at bears, but we're pointing at climbers. That lady was stopped. She was like, ooh, a special event is happening.
यता पनि यता कालो कालो ए बोथ साइड यस्तो रहेछ है यतापट्टि पनि यस्तो दामी रक रहेछ रक क्लाइम्बिङ सी खासै ठाउँमै मिल्यो न त त्यहाँ क्यामेरालाई त युङ्गेट 통겟
와우 이거 사람들
디닝지야도
Oh, the meadow off to our left. Spring has sprung. All of our blue flag irises are starting to bloom. Such pretty flowers. Meadow doing a long-lasting tradition, looking for climbers.
Where's the rock climbers? Oh, rock climbing.
Oh yeah, I can see a bunch up there. It's a busy day on the wall. We have traffic jams in the park. We have traffic jams on the wall.
Where? I can't see.
All right.
Did you see?
Is everyone able to see them up there? Sometimes it gets a little difficult.
Oh, they change you. Oh, now they change you.
If
Oh, yeah. Rock climbing.
so, if we're looking at this this piece kind of right in the center of El Capitan. It's pushing out towards us. We call that the nose of El Capitan. About halfway up the nose, we see kind of a semicircle. There's some climbers working on that semicircle. Some climbers up to the right of that semicircle. And then directly to the left, there's a horizontal line. There's a couple of climbers up there as well. Climbers love talking about famous first ascents. So let's talk about the famous first ascents. The famous first of El Capitan. The first ascent was started in 1957. It was led by a team of climbers. The leader of this team was a gentleman by the name of Warren Harding. Just the whole world seems like it's coming alive right now. We look at Yosemite Falls over at the Yosemite Valley Lodge. That is North America's tallest waterfall system. It's a system. It's broken up into 3 separate waterfalls, but it's not the single biggest drop in the park. That honor belongs to this waterfall that's kind of peeking out over here. We'll get a really good view in a little bit, a much better view when we're on the other side of the road coming down from tunnel view. Yosemite Falls from base to summit is about 2,425 feet, but broken up into 3 separate waterfalls. The tallest single drop is Ribbon Falls off here to the right. From where it plummets off the side of the cliff to where it hits the ground is 1,216 feet. Coming up pretty soon on our left-hand side, we're going to get our first view of Bridal Veil Fall. Bridal Veil Fall is typically the first major waterfall that people see when entering into Yosemite National Park, and a waterfall that you can see year-round. Bridal Veil Fall is an annual waterfall. It is fed by a lake. This lake is called Ostrander Lake. View, kind of the 2 classic views of Yosemite. I often get asked, what are the best views? I say the 2 views of Yosemite from the ground level, the valley floor, and then getting a bit higher elevation, being that top-down view. Tunnel view accomplishes that. Glacier Point also accomplishes that.
So beautiful. ए ब्राइडल फल्स के भन्दो रहेछ यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसको यिनै चाहिँ खोला सर बगिरहेछ यस्तो दामी छ
On a nice warm sunny day, I can feel the cool air coming from Bridal Mill. Ooh, I don't mind that at all.
या मिस्ट यहाँ मुनि खोला सर बग्दैछ पानी कस्तो राम्रो
Yosemite bear. Has anyone seen a bear in the park? Is bear? Love it. You saw a bear? Where'd you get? Oh, 8-9 years ago? Nice. Has anyone seen a bear since they've been in Yosemite so far? Where'd you guys see one?
Not in the Yosemite, first time Yosemite.
Lunch? Oh, the lodge. I was like, yeah, they have lunch sometimes. Yeah. Over to our left, we're seeing some of the modern forest management kind of doing some of this mechanical clearing and prescribed burns over here. We'll see that kind of all over Yosemite. Complete stop, and those steps have extended before you guys get off. Go through those swinging doors that you got on. If anybody does need to use a restroom, they did not use it at the lodge. Our one and only restroom stop is located across the street over here. We'll have a few minutes here at Valley View.
यहाँ पार्क गरेर चाहिँ यहाँ हेर्ने ठाउँ हाम्रो फर्स्ट स्टप यहाँ चाहिँ फर्स्ट स्टप गऱ्यो अनि एउटा सानो भिडियो खिचौँ अब यहाँ हेर्नुहोस् माथिको फल्स त्यो फल्सको पानी बगेको यहाँनिर फल्सको पानी बग्दैछ वा ऊ माथिबाट बगेर आउँदैछ ए रक क्लाइम्बिङ गर्ने जस्तो त्यो Such a beautiful, wow. हेर्नुहोस् त पानी कति सफा छ फेरि पानी चोखो छ सफा यस्तो देखि छ अब हामी फर्स्ट स्टपबाट सेकेन्डतिर लाग्दै तयारी हुँदैछ सबैजना भ्यू हेरेर चढिसक्यो आफ्नो ठाउँमा सबजना आइसक्यो हाम्रो ग्रुपहरू लभली ग्रुप यस्तो छ भ्यू यस्तो ब्युटिफुल छ बिचारा हाम्रो ड्राइभर साहब यस्तो छ सर्भिस कस्तो राम्रो रहेछ यहाँको one of the best service.
You're on board, raise your hand. Jay, we got everybody. That's good. That's good. We'll be leaving here in just a moment. This is a really great view. I was just kind of telling someone, we get to do this all the time. These views never get old. What a lovely day today is. This river over here is raging right now. If you guys touch it, it's very cold. We're kind of looking at this sign over here. Look at that floodwater level sign. That's how high it was January 2nd, 1997. Right now, we are in the peak of our flood season. Up here in the Yosemite area, we always called it the Pineapple Express. It It's a system that develops over the Pacific Ocean. It slams into California. And at our highest elevations, where we're typically receiving snow throughout the winter, it was raining 9,000 feet, 11,000 feet, 12,000 feet, inches of rain all flowing in. That bridge that we just went over, out in the open, I want to drop politics completely for 3 days. John Muir had kind of ulterior motives. He figured what better opportunity than having the president's ear for 3 days. So he stuffed him, like he said. He talked about the timber thieves, illegal mining, or illegal grazing, what he referred to as the despoilers of the forest. On our right-hand side, we're going to see a marker that ends this 3-day camping trip. But their first day, they spent underneath the shade of the giant sequoias in our Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias. By the next day, by horse, by foot, they make their way up to the top of Glacier Point, where Teddy Roosevelt takes one of his most famous photos, kind of hanging right off the side of Glacier Point. There was about 5 feet of snow on the ground that night. It even snowed overnight. Teddy Roosevelt, he woke up the next day, he brushed the snow off his shirt, the snow off his blanket. What was his response? He said, "Bullier yet." He was into it. He was an adventure. Pretty soon we're going to turn on the Wawona Road going up to Tunnel View. This is going to be my time to warn you guys. Hold on to your glasses, hold on to your hats, make sure everything is nice and secure. We're going to speed up a little bit to get up the hill. This is typically where I lose all my hats.
अघि बिहानै हामीले खिच्नु त त्यही टनल भ्यू त्यही
Oh, I love the reservation system. It's so not packed up here today. There are benefits.
टनल भ्यू अघि हामी यताबाट अब यहाँ रोक्छ डेमा चाहिँ यस्तो देखिँदो रहेछ टनल भ्यू
How many reservations? I'm not too sure. The park doesn't necessarily release that information. I'm not too sure. I don't even know who I could ask for that.
ल यो टनलबाट आएको अघि बिहान फेरि यसले यहीँ यो देखाउनु आयो हामीलाई अहिले अब यहाँबाट चाहिँ दामी फल्स योसेमिटी फल देखाउनु भयो
We have some folks illegally selling things over there. The park rangers will deal with that, though. Capitalism.
वाउ ब्युटिफुल दिउँसो चाहिँ यस्तो देखिँदो रहेछ बिहानको राम्रो लाग्यो बिहानको दामी लाग्यो चाहिँ यस्तो पनि बिक्री गर्दो रहेछ यो जुस फ्रेस जुस Wow, wow, fast.
So clean.
See, this is he's making for us.
And how about papaya?
No papaya.
Oh, you don't have papaya? I saw the yellow.
This is cantaloupe.
Yeah,
Cantaloupe. Okay.
I like the mango and watermelon.
You want some cantaloupe?
Mhm.
Okay, little bit. And coconut,
Easy.
okay?
Cantaloupe? No.
यस्तो अब मौसम पनि सही छ ठ्याक्क यहाँनिर जुस बेच्ने पनि बसेछ दिकीलाई ताल पर्यो Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Wow. ल How is the taste?
Wow.
It's good?
Yummy. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too. Fresh, Sunny.
Wow.
अघि बिहान हेरिसकेँ हामी यो चाहिँ तर हामीलाई आज एकचोटि ल्याएर है तर बिहानको राम्रो देख्यो है त्यो गाडीमा आएको राम्रो लाग्यो
Go.
We're here at Tunnel View, one of those picture postcard views of Yosemite. For all those folks that raised their hand at the beginning, saying it was their first time in Yosemite, it's probably some of the images you saw of Yosemite that brought you here. It's named Tunnel View because of that tunnel right there, standing at a total whopping length of 4,233 feet. It makes it the longest tunnel in the state of California, literally blasted, drilled through a mountain of granite. That tunnel was opened in 1935. The first images that Westerners had on this valley, they wouldn't have had the use of that tunnel. It was 1851 when we had these first Western European Americans coming in. They would have crested just over that hill, looking down in this valley that had been occupied but hidden for thousands of years by the first peoples of Yosemite. In this verse, he wasn't referencing the place, he was referencing the people. The people that lived here, they did not call it Yosemite, they called it Awani, meaning the place of a deep gaping mouth. From viewpoints like that, we can kind of get a sense of this deep gaping mouth. This guy said Yosemite. He was talking about the people. Yosemite means full-grown grizzly bear, a ferocious animal, and it kind of described the tenacity of the people that lived here. We're talking about Western expansion.
Capitan Rock.
This tourist party is
Yosemite
led by
Falls.
a businessman, an entrepreneur, a publisher. His name is James Mason Hutchings. James Mason Hutchings was pretty smart because he brought along
Yeah, that'd be
an
so good.
artist. Maybe we recognize names. Oh, I love coming down from Tunnel View. We get all this cool air from Bridal Veil right here. Through the trees, we're gonna have Bridal Veil Fall. We're gonna stop for a moment. We'll kind of slow down. We'll get a chance to check out Bridal Veil nice up and close.
Waterfalls.
This name, Bridal Veil, that's a modern name. El Capitan, Ribbon Falls, Tunnel View, Bridal Veil. Those are modern names placed on these
Bridal
objects
Falls.
and items by modern folks, Westerners that came in here. The people that occupied this place, they had different names for everything. Bridal Veil is no exception. They call this waterfall Pohono. Pohono translates as the spirit of the puffing wind. And it's kind of living up to its name right now, I'd say. At the top of it, it's doing some puffing.
Oh yeah,
And it
Shana
actually is
Falls.
associated with the wind phenomenon. Because
El
typically
Capitan
in
Rock,
summertime,
hey.
especially when the flow is much lighter, warm up canyon drafts will enter into Yosemite. They'll slam up against the wall. They'll
Yosemite.
continue upwards. And if the flow is really
Climbing,
light, if the
rock
wind is
climbing.
really
Rock
heavy,
climbing,
for a few moments it can actually stop. It can arrest the flow of water for just a few seconds before eventually it comes rushing again.
यो खोला फेरि आयो.
Oh, that river looks fun to jump in. Has anyone been in the river so far? No? It's really warm, I promise. Oh, it's cold? He says it's cold, guys. But I think about this river because we talk about how Yosemite was formed. And there were a lot of really competing ideas in the early days of Yosemite. One of the preeminent geologists of the time, Josiah Whitney. Mount Whitney, the biggest mountain in the lower 48, takes its name from Josiah Whitney. He was the president of the California Geologic Society. And he was a big proponent of this cataclysmic tectonic theory. That the mountains rose, the valley chief of the Awanichi, our last tribe that lived here. His three sons were hiding out in the rocks below that area. There was a struggle, and one of these sons, unarmed, was killed in that struggle. To honor those sons, they named these rocks the Three Brothers. I think a much funner story, a much more fun story, a much more positive story is the actual name that the Awanichi called this rock face. They called it Compo-Pisces, which to them it meant like, it looks like a frog in position getting ready to jump over another frog. It's a children's game. It's leapfrog. It's a universal children's game. Cultures that had no contact with each other for thousands of years had the same ideas, the same concept, the same children's game. Right? What I think it demonstrates is that there's a lot more similarities between different cultures than there are differences there. When we were kind of at the start when we were talking about our rock fall was the middle brother rock fall. So that'd be the guy in the middle. We're going to use some simple observation here. So the one closest, that would be the lower brother. And then we have the middle brother. The tallest one, it would be so easy if we called that upper brother. Nothing's easy in a national park. We call that one Eagle Peak. for the eagles that used to once nest
Three
there.
brothers,
John
brothers.
Muir himself, he
Those
once
are
called
three
it
brothers.
Three
from
brothers.
Eagle
They
Peak.
naam
The
rakhe.
grandest their way across. A couple of wires on either
Ab
side.
valley
so they
फर्के क्या
stayed
यो?
on the bridge.
Valley
But
Lodge.
the flow of that water would destroy that bridge every year. In
Kita kah gua
1965,
na
the
ni?
park
Tiket dah
replaced
macam
that bridge.
त्यसको मुनि अन्त त्यसको भित्र गयो नि
Legacy
Eh,
name.
त्यो हो.
अँ, त्यो हो नि
Through the clearing here, we're going to see lovely
Yang tiket dah milik tu.
beautiful Yosemite Falls. Yosemite Falls is at its
Yosemite
peak right
Falls.
now.
Falls.
Alah, ni kau baca
Yosemite
siapa?
Falls. Okay, so to describe how high Yosemite Falls is, I usually say right about where we are, about 4,000 feet.
Yosemite
4,000
Falls
feet
चाहिँ
is
यो
a
रहेछ
good
असली चाहिँ
estimate, 4,000 feet elevation for the valley. From where Yosemite Falls plummets off that T-shaped cleft right there is another 2,425 feet.
2,425 feet. 2,425 feet high falls. Yosemite Falls.
And then if we take that middle waterfall and
भन्दै
lower
छ।
the middle and lower together, we have yet another Empire State Building. The way to think about it is two Empire State Buildings stacked right on top of each other. Yosemite Falls is unlike Bridal Veil though.
Oh,
It
there,
is
no,
an
uta very
ephemeral
view.
waterfall. It's a seasonal
There.
waterfall. It's not fed
It's a
by
different
lake.
view.
There's not a lot of wetland
See.
areas up there. It's fed entirely by
Oh,
snow and by
tahu.
rain.
Dia
By the
mesti
end of summer, typically late August, early September,
हामी कहाँ गयो?
it
गएन नि
goes
अब।
from
यो
Yosemite
गएन?
Falls to Yosemite
ए,
Falls.
होइन रहेछ।
It's a mere trickle.
यो त अर्कै रहेछ।
Like I said, you guys chose the perfect weekend to come here.
Oh, हामी gएको त उता
Just
उता
past
गएको।
this tree that fell down last winter, we get a real good chance to look at roots and what roots do.
अब त्यो मे
But
स्तोङमा
past
जाते
that, we're going to see the Yosemite Chapel. Yosemite Chapel was built in 1879 by Charles Geddes. That makes it the longest
Yeah, I was
still
here.
used building in Yosemite National
See,
Park history.
Yosemite
It's not
Chapel.
in its original location. Its original location was located over by 4 Mile Trailhead Swinging
This
Bridge.
is Yosemite
Because that
Chapel.
4 Mile Trail Swinging Bridge area, as well
Yeah,
as this
Chapel.
bridge up here, that is the site of two of our original villages. They used to place these villages right alongside the river, access to fresh flowing water. Seasonal flooding happens each and every single year. To limit the amount of repair costs, we moved our
माथिको
village
पहाड
forward.
ग्राममा आयो भने त जाने रहेछ नि
Keeps that village nice and protected.
यहाँ होइन हावा
I love
सिरिरी
the way the wind blows on the
सी विन्ड ब्लोइङ यहाँ नै घाँसमा हावा चलेको सारा सब खण्डै निन्ज्या ठाउँ यहाँ
Dreams lah, waterfalls, mountain. Oh my gosh.
Has anybody here been to our giant sequoia groves? Couple? Anyone planning on going? Okay. Well, I got a little treat for you guys. Revolutionary. Stop. I got to get into it. Literally. He drilled directly into the rock face. He left these holes. He placed these wooden dowels
Yeah,
inside
yeah,
of these
yeah.
holes. Placed stakes inside, connecting these stakes by
यहाँ आएर
ropes
अघि
to make it all the way to the top.
ए त्यो
If you
अघि
go up
हेरेको
the
होटेलको
cable
छेउबाट
system
हेरेको
in the modern day to Half Dome, you are quite literally walking in George Anderson's footsteps. He did this in 1875, and just 3 days later, he brought the first tourist party up there. James Mason Hutchings, we're going to return, our publisher, the guy that made Yosemite world famous. James Mason Hutchings, he saw an opportunity. He wanted to be the first person to take a picture at the top of Half Dome. James Mason Hutchings wasn't alone with George Anderson. James Mason Hutchings' teenage daughter went up with them. James Mason Hutchings' 68-year-old mother. In 1875. So if you ever think you're too young or too old to get up Half Dome, James, which is our museum right next door, containing over 2 million
Yosemite
artifacts of
Village.
Yosemites history. Not just
आइपुग्नु
recent,
लाग्यो अब
ancient history inside of
Yosemite
there.
Village
Going inside the
Lodge
Yosemite Museum, you'll see some
लान्छ लास्ट स्टप
local native basketry. Some of these baskets are done by Lucy Tellis, Julia Parker, members of these 7 associated tribes. These 7 associated tribes are meadows. Some of these grasses, these bracken ferns, these willows, they dry to form these baskets. One of the other individuals that works there is an expert at
फोटो एउटा
making
खिच्छन्
stone tools.
कट्कै
The art of making
What a
these stone
beautiful
tools,
view.
lint mapping.
Tiba photo gitu.
Excellent
मलाई होइन
resources.
यो मात्रै यस्तो खिच्नु
Still here with us.
त्यस्तो कि लम्बा
Parked up at Tunnel View.
Yosemite Valley Lodge मा फेरि अब हाम्रो टुर सक्यो थ्याङ्क यू
I always start, I always finish, quite simply by saying thank you. Thank you guys for coming on our tour today. You guys are on vacations. I treat vacation time very valuably, very preciously. I really appreciate you guys coming out. I hope you guys enjoy the tour today. Most of all, I really hope you guys enjoy the rest of your time in Yosemite. When we kind of pull back in behind this other tram, we'll go ahead and let you guys deboard there. I always make myself available for a few minutes afterwards if anyone has any comments, questions, concerns, quite literally anything Yosemite related. Again, you guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Service. ल अब आइपुग्यो है ल ल सबजना अब ओर्लिँदैछ
Make sure if you guys stash any bags